From Mamma Mia, welcome to The Spill, your daily pop culture fix. I'm Ksenia Lukic.
And I'm Em Burnham.
Okay, on the show today, we are going to be diving into our favourite movie franchises. Now, this is off the back of the slightly disappointing Jurassic World.
Disappointing for some, aka Tina B. So if you haven't listened to our Weekend Watch episode that was released early this morning, go listen to that so you know what we're talking about. But we had a bit of a disagreement with Weekend Watch. So you got both sides. And basically we watched the new Jurassic World movie. We want you to watch it and then tell us whether you liked it or not.
I know, but it kind of got us thinking about some of our favourite franchises.
Yes.
So we thought we'd do an episode. It's kind of like a breakdown of some of our favourite movie franchises. And these are the movie franchises that once you start watching the first one, you have to watch the entire series.
Yes. It's not the franchises where you're like, the first one's always the best one, where you can just watch that first movie and pretend the rest don't exist. These are the ones where like, no, you have to see the whole story through because it's that good. So you have to watch the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth,
and
whatever.
it's that kind of franchise that you keep coming back to.
Yeah.
Like you can watch it over and over again. You have those movie marathons, you do a binge and you just really enjoy it. Now, it has to be like essential watches. That's our only rule here. It has to be you like all of the movies.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm going to kick it off because Laura and I had a really great chat last week. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention this because it is so obvious.
Yeah.
I know it's obvious. I know it's something that people can be like, oh God. But I genuinely love these movies and it is the Lord of the Rings franchise.
You're looking at me. Super obvious for some people.
Really?
I have a confession.
Okay. I'm scared.
When it comes to the Lord of the Rings, I've watched 1.5 movies.
What do you mean 1.5 movies?
As in I watched the first movie and then half of the second.
Where's Laura? It shakes me that you stopped halfway through 2 hours. That I don't understand how you stop halfway through.
To be fair, the reason I stopped halfway through was because there was a specific scene that moved me so much that I had to pause it to recollect myself, and then I just forgot.
Which scene was it?
We're allowed to say because it's like yeah, that's a whole other thing. Like these are going to be spoilers. So
if you haven't watched Lord of the Rings by now, like
me,
come on.
If you only watched half of Lord of the Rings, like myself,
which scene?
It was the scene. So you know, in the first Lord of the Rings movie, you think Gandalf is dead.
Yes, at the end of it.
Yes, and then in the second movie, you see that he's not dead. So when that happened, it really, because he was my favorite character in the first, Ian McKellen. Like I love that man; he's amazing. And when I saw he was back alive, I had to recollect myself, and then I guess I still am recollecting myself.
10 years later or something. Okay, so Lord of the Fellowship of the Ring came out in 2001. So I think it's probably a little bit generational.
Yeah,
because you're a few years younger than me. So 2001, I was 11 years old, so I was quite young.
Was that the prime age to watch it though?
I think I was on the young side to watch it. But I remember watching all the movies in theaters. I loved them all. And I've come back again and again to the series. I watched all the extended cuts, often with my family are a big bunch of everyone loves a bit of sci-fi and fantasy. My mum and my uncle grew up reading Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. So that was a really big part of our family. So we would have family movie nights where we'd watch all 3 of them. And
that's really
whenever
sweet.
It's on, I will always watch it. And after talking about this, I haven't watched it in a couple of years.
That's the best part about these kind of movies is when it triggers such a core memory that it just feels so wholesome and safe.
It's almost like one of those series where I wish that I could go back to watching it for the first time again.
Yeah.
The fact that you haven't seen Return of the King won Best Picture, Best Director. It's like an Oscar-winning movie.
Yeah, I know. So this is the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I know so many. I think even if you haven't watched Lord of the Rings, there are so many facts about Lord of the Rings. I know that all the 3 movies of Lord of the Rings they filmed at the same time.
They did.
So one after the other. And from what I have seen of Lord of the Rings, it does work really, really well from the first movie to the second movie. How it picks up straight after. And it's so seamless because they filmed it immediately after, so they all look the same age and stuff.
So, again, they filmed them all back to back. It was 2001, 2002, 2003 in terms of release.
Yeah.
They released them one after the other per
Bring
year.
that back. I'm tired of the 5 years between each movie, each TV show. It's annoying.
I know. And Peter Jackson really, and considering the fact that this is like 25 years ago, the fact that they, like the CGI, the effects, the practical effects that they did, you know, it really put New Zealand on the map. Obviously, Peter Jackson is a Kiwi. You know, you can go visit Hobbiton.
You can.
In Auckland, in New Zealand.
Hobbiton is a big, big feature of a lot of men's Hinge dating profiles.
Is it really? Oh my God.
I know so much about that place.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
This is something that
I think because it makes you look so big when you're there. So they all take photos in front of the door.
Oh,
and it's just nice. They love it. The men love it.
Yeah, look, I love all of the, you know, IMDb trivia on it.
Yeah. The one fact where he really broke his foot when he kicked that helmet.
So you actually know a lot about it.
I know. So you have to. I feel like any person in the world, so when I watched the movie,
you shall not pass.
It was amazing. Like seeing all the things that I knew about it, like actually happening in front of my eyes. Because I actually only watched it like 3 or 4 months ago. So it's not like I watched them years ago and haven't then. It's quite recent. For the first time. I know, she's silent. Thank God we're videoing this.
I'm actually just so shocked because I think I've watched all of them at least 3 or 4 times each. At least. Like this is like hundreds of hours.
This is going to be my
life.
homework for this weekend.
I challenge you, if it's raining this weekend, please sit and just watch them all.
Okay.
You don't need to watch the extended ones. I mean, the extended ones are very good, but
is it the same cast in the extended ones?
Yeah. It's just because Peter Jackson shot so much. The extended cuts are just additional scenes. So, like for example, in Fellowship of the Ring, I think the original running time is like 3 hours and 15 minutes. They're long movies, but the director's cut, I think it's over 4 hours. So
wow,
it just extends the run time. So it's a bit of an investment if you watch them all back to back, but it is like very worth it. But I think this had a lot to do with, again, last week we were talking a lot about my Orlando Bloom obsession, and I think it really started with
he looks so young in this.
Well, it was his first ever movie. Like this is his breakout role, is Legolas.
And it's not like a massive role.
Well, it isn't in the first that much, but he does have a lot more of a role in 2 and 3. Return of the King.
I'm just not up to it.
Return of the King is like very
Orlando heavy.
Well, no, he's still supporting character, but you see a lot more of the elves.
Okay.
But yes, that is my first one, and we need to get Em to watch Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But do you know what? Our producer Mon also hasn't seen it.
Money, you're just like me.
So
you kept that very quiet while I've been getting like berated over here.
I do think it's a generational thing. Maybe I'm hoping so, because it really, honestly, it is regarded as one of the best trilogies on the planet, if not like it is just,
if not the universe.
If not the universe ever.
Okay,
now,
yes, I do feel bad. I need to go back into it. I hate that I confess that, but
even if you're not like
I'll
a big like fantasy nerd, like
which I am, which is weird.
Okay, well then I don't understand.
You know why I think it is? I think because of the amount of lore behind Lord of the Rings, and I think this is where sometimes when a franchise gets too big, the fan base becomes an issue. Because I remember there was a specific time in my teenage years where everyone was watching Lord of the Rings, and it became this big thing where, especially the boys in my high school, it was more like Lord of the Ring is so cool, like it's not for the girls, it's not for girls, it's so like it's so for the boys.
You felt like the fans were maybe excluding
you. When it becomes like so big, and it's like you can't just be a fan of the movie, you have to be the best fan, like the biggest fan. I think that's where it gets a bit annoying, and I just pulled all the way back from that.
I completely understand that. Look, I am not the world's biggest fan of Lord of the Rings. I really love the movies. I definitely go back and rewatch them over and over again, but I do understand what you're saying, where people kind of start to gatekeep the franchise a little bit, and they keep you out of the loop. And I think the fantasy genre does lend itself to that a lot of the time. But let's go into one of your favorites.
Okay, so the first one I want to talk about, and similar to you, I'm digging deep into my childhood here because this series, it's also a trilogy, it's 3 movies, were the defining movies of my upbringing. And it's a High School Musical series. You've never watched High School Musical?
The first one I've watched a million times. But I think I just got too old for 2 and 3 because I never watched 2 and 3.
Okay, that's actually fair because I was on the cusp for 3. But High School Musical.
But the first one I loved.
First one,
Zac Efron.
amazing. Vanessa Hudgens, Ashley Tisdale, Corbin Bleu.
Like me and my little brother would like listen to the soundtrack together.
Oh, the soundtrack.
It was really good.
It was, I think.
Get your head in the game. You gotta get your head in the game.
I think it was like, so my older cousins, their version of High School Musical was, and my parents mainly as well, was Grease. And like for me, it was High School Musical because like I would watch Grease, and Grease was one of those things where like my parents would make me watch because I like, this is cinema, this is good. And it's so interesting because you can so tell the difference between how movies were marketed for teenagers in that time versus now. And like that time it was like girls getting pregnant and all like just like bizarre and stuff like that's happening in High School Musical. The worst thing that's happening here is that will he choose basketball or theatre?
Well, I think as well because High School Musical franchise is a Disney franchise.
It is a Disney
it's a bit
franchise.
More wholesome.
Yeah.
Whereas Grease is like they're talking about, you know, drugs and sex and pregnancy and like it's a different demo. And also everyone in that movie was like 35 when they shot it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Stockard Channing was like 30 when she was supposed to be a high schooler.
Yeah, it's so funny. But I think they also had to be 35 because like they could not get kids to do Grease.
Yeah.
But High School Musical, so it came out when I was around 11 years old on Disney Channel. And it was around the time where Disney Channel was like really leaning into the movie space. Like they had the Die Hard TV shows that everyone loved. And High School Musical for me and my generation was the first Disney movie that really like hit blockbuster. And the great thing about it was because it was on Disney Channel, Disney was just racking in all of this money because it wasn't in cinemas, it wasn't anywhere else. The only place you could get it was like off like some illegal streaming site that someone filmed inside like their own like TV room.
I remember that. Your friend goes to Bali and they come back with like this
like
really
a handheld camera of someone filming a screen and you're just sitting in my cousin's room on her like desktop computer watching it. It was just a horrible experience, but like so fun. And I remember watching it on Disney Channel and they would have the Disney Channel ads in between it. And then because it was on Disney Channel, they would just play the movie over and over again. So I probably watched High School Musical like 15 times.
Okay, but what about the second and the third one? Because I've never seen those.
Cinematic. So
okay.
The second one is probably, okay, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. I think High School Musical 2 is better than High School Musical 1.
What's it about?
So the second one is where they're all on summer break.
Okay.
So it's like not in the actual school. They're all on this like really highly esteemed golf course that's owned by Sharpay's dad. And they all get.
I have seen it.
You probably would. It's the best one. They all get like summer jobs at the golf club. So
I remember a golf course. For some reason, I've got Zac Efron singing on a golf course.
Yeah, so Zac Efron's like the caddy guy who like helps the golfers. Vanessa Hudgens, who plays Gabriella, is like the lifeguard. A lot of them work in the kitchen.
Okay.
And then they decide to do a musical at the golf club, and that's where you really see tension between Troy and Gabriella's relationship.
Oh God, oh no.
Yeah, because they have to like.
Okay, and then the third one.
The third one is like the graduation. So it's like the final year of high school. That's like where like tension really rises because they're like, which college are they going to go to? Like what is Troy going to pick? Is he going to pick basketball? Is he going to pick theater? Is he going to pick both?
Oh my God. Okay. But like you're saying that this is something that you go back to time and time again?
Yes. Because like it's like what you said. Like when I think of High School Musical and I go watch it, it's not really about watching the movies. It's about like going back in time to that like little girl I was like sitting in my parents' bed like watching it on their TV in their bedroom, Or for the second movie, like being with my cousins and watching it all together because we had this really annoying like family dinner we all had to go to, even though it was still on Disney Channel. So I was telling my parents, I was like, hey, just letting you know, High School Musical 2 comes out on this date at this time. I have to be home and watch it. And they're like, okay, we got it. And then we had a family dinner and they were like, you have to go to the family dinner. And then I was messaging my cousins like, what are we going to do? And they're like, we'll just watch it there at the family dinner. And we all got to watch it because it was on Disney Channel. We watched it live. And then the last movie was the only movie they released in cinemas. So for my 13th birthday, my mum bought me and all my high school friends tickets because we just entered high school. We were 13. And we all went to the cinema together and watched it.
Okay, so it's nostalgia for you.
It's nostalgia. And it's just good. Like the song, every song hits. Every song is a fucking banger.
Okay, so I think that that's relevant. Even though it's not winning Oscars, it is like it's a nostalgia thing for you. And I have a lot of respect for movies like that. Even if they're not, it's things that make you
High
feel
School Musical
really good.
should not be winning any Oscars.
No, I know, but it's just so funny that we went from Lord of the Rings to High School Musical.
Okay.
I love that. But then this next franchise series is one that we both agree on.
Yes.
So we're going with the Oceans.
The Ocean series.
I love these movies. Now, are we counting, because the original Ocean's 11 movie came out in 1960. We're not counting that. We're talking about, we're going to talk.
No. We're talking George Clooney.
Now, we know that that's the original and we're not going to try and offend anyone, but I feel like we're not going to because that's going to be like really old.
It didn't become a franchise, right? It was like the original movie and then the remake happened.
2001.
George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Andy Garcia, Julia Roberts, like Casey Affleck, like massive cast.
That cast is honestly one of the best casts.
Yeah.
And, you really can't really compare it. And the fact that it's like Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Matt Damon all together. So Steven,
our bestie Ben Affleck missed out on that one.
I know Steven Soderbergh directed it, and it really is one of the best.
Oh, it's so good.
And this like where they're getting everyone has their
shtick, right?
I love it so much.
Yeah, so you get one guy who's really, really good at like pickpocketing, which is Matt Damon's character, and then
he's a lifter, I think.
A lifter.
Is that what they call him?
I think so. And then Brad Pitt and George Clooney are like the head guys who like make it all happen. And then I think Don Cheadle is in number 2.
Yeah, Don Cheadle's in the first one as well.
In the first one, and he does like the bomb. Like he makes the bomb.
Yep.
And it's just like such a good cast. And the cast.
Elliot Gould.
Julia Roberts, who's just like absolutely stunned. I think like I had a massive crush on Julia Roberts when I looked at that movie. But the best thing about these movies is that it's so clever, so fast paced. And it's one of those movies where they're talking so fast and the chemistry between each character is so well done that you can just see it's hard to remember that you are watching people play characters because it looks like they're just playing themselves. It is really, really well done. And I love the story arc of the entire Ocean series because you have the first movie, which is like their first heist where they rob the casino.
In Vegas.
And then the second movie is when they get found out and they have to pay back the guy they robbed.
Andy Garcia basically goes in and says, you guys need to pay all of this back. Now, it wasn't quite as successful as the previous one, but I still think it holds up. Like, I still think it was a really great movie.
And I think it counts because every time, and I've watched this series so many times, because every time I go down to sit and be like, I'm just going to watch Ocean's 11, I immediately have to watch 12 and then 13 and then 8.
Okay, so this is what I was going to ask you. Now, I would say the Oceans franchise for me is Oceans 11, Oceans 12, Oceans 13.
Yeah.
They are a standalone. And then kind of as like it's almost like a spin-off, I would say, Oceans 8. Even though I know, like I actually really liked Oceans 8. I don't know why everyone hated on it.
Oh.
I think that's just misogyny.
Oceans 8, I think people went in hating it before even watching it. And it was the announcement of these brilliant actors who are all women doing an Oceans 8 that's a cast of all women. And immediately everyone was like, this is going to be so bad. It's all women. Why is everything getting remade with just all women? Like, it doesn't make it good.
It was
cinema.
around the same time as the Ghostbusters.
Yes, you're completely right. It was around the time where they had the all women's cast for the Ghostbusters plus what's his name? Chris
Hemsworth played the dumb pretty.
He was so good in that.
I loved him in that.
That should have been one of us.
It was so good.
But I think Ocean's 8, I absolutely love the premise of Ocean's 8. And similar to Ocean's 11, I think every single woman in that cast worked so well together. The chemistry was so well done. So Ocean's 8 is in the same universe as Ocean's 11. It stars Sandra Bullock, and her character plays George Clooney's character Danny's sister.
Yeah.
You find out early in the movie that Danny had passed away, and she has just gotten out of jail. She's also a criminal. They're from a big criminal family, and her role is pretty much what George Clooney's role is in the Ocean's 11, like getting the team together to perform the big heist, and the big heist is robbing the Met Gala.
I know, I love it. It's so good. And like Kate Blanchett, Rihanna,
Mindy Kaling.
Mindy Kaling's in there. Like, it's so
Awkwafina.
good.
It's so well done. Anne Hathaway.
I loved it. I don't know
James Corden.
I don't know why everyone hated it. I think it got way more hate than it needed to.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. But for me, I still did love the first one. 2001 was Ocean's 11. And I think that was the first time we saw that heist movie. It was also around the same time as like the Jason Bourne movies.
Yeah.
These kind of heist, like sexy criminals.
Sexy, like high-end smart criminals. It's not just like these group of like,
and like
hoolums
criminals
robbing a bank.
Yeah, our criminals are protagonists.
Yeah.
They're not the antagonists. Like, even though they're evil, we still want them not evil. Even though they're doing something bad, we want them to succeed because we really like the characters, and it's like kind of sexy.
And how like Brad Pitt's just like eating in every scene.
Okay, so apparently because he was eating so much, he was like getting really sick.
Oh God.
Because he had to eat in every scene. And you know, when you shoot a movie, like you shoot the same scene over and over again.
And he just had to keep eating.
I remember one time I did a McDonald's ad, like a very long time ago.
Yeah.
And it was for this Slurpee. It was like a blue Slurpee.
How much Slurpee did you drink?
By the end of the day, I think I'd probably had like 10, 15 Slurpees. But I had to start spitting them out. So I just had a bucket next to me that I would start spitting them out. But I was so sick by the end of it. Because of the amount of sugar.
Oh my God, your tongue must have been blue for weeks.
Well, the whole thing was that my tongue was blue, and I'd go to the boy that I'm sitting next to and I go, and my tongue's blue, and that was the whole ad.
Cinema right there.
But they had to put like food dye on my tongue.
Oh God,
and then I was like so sick from the thing, and they had like
just sounds like
spit bucket. So that's what they would have had. Like I think Brad Pitt had a spit bucket.
I'm sure Brad Pitt's fine.
I mean, he's fine. This is like peak Brad Pitt too.
It is peak Brad Pitt. It's peak a lot of them. Like even George Clooney and Matt Damon look so good in this film.
George Clooney was hot in this movie.
Oh my God. Julia Roberts. Count your days.
Okay. We've got time for one more, I think.
Okay.
What are we thinking?
These movies I was so obsessed with. I didn't watch them immediately when they came out. I watched them around when I was 15 years old, but I became so crazy obsessed with. I had posters in my room of these movies. My phone case was this movie poster. I had a birthday theme as a 15-year-old.
Okay.
With these movies.
All right, don't hold back. What is it?
It's Pirates of the Caribbean.
You don't know what this is, do you? Aztec gold. The heathen gods placed upon the gold a terrible curse. 10 years we've searched. Every last piece we have found, save for this. Hello, puppet.
We must save her. Where do we start? Jack Sparrow. He talked about the Black Pearl. Make a deal with him. He can lead us to it.
You forget your place. You are a blacksmith. If you spring me from this sill, I shall take you to the black.
Do you know what my ringtone was?
Dun, 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 dun.
That was my ringtone for like 5 years.
Stop.
Like I was obsessed.
We would have been such good because I learned to play that on the piano.
Did you? So that was like it was the.
Oh, such a good theme song. The fact they made like cinematic masterpieces out of a Disney ride in Disneyland is insane.
So my only issue with this is
the reason why we're scared to talk about this.
Yeah, the reason why we're scared to talk about it is because our rule for this, like, I mean, they're self-inflicted rules, but the rule for this was that it was only going to be where you could watch every single series and they were really good.
Yeah.
But I would argue that because there is like a really big gap in these Pirates movies that we can just slightly adjust our rule. So 2003, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. Then it was 2006 was Dead Man's Chest.
Yep.
And then At World's End was 2007.
Yep. And then we finished and then we went to sleep.
After that, it's 2011, so that doesn't count. So we're just saying the trilogy.
Yeah, the trilogy. Every movie that happened after At World's End, I'm pretending didn't exist.
Yeah, we like once we get to On Stranger Tides, we're not looking at that anymore.
No.
That doesn't
and
count.
also it's a different storyline completely. So the first, second and third Pirates of the Caribbean movies is the same storyline with the same core cast.
Yeah, Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley, Johnny Depp.
And then At World's End has a very definitive ending. It's At World's End. It says it in the title.
Yep.
So if you haven't watched Pirates of the Caribbean, watch those 3 films. Nothing after that.
Yeah, don't worry about the other ones. Just ignore it. They just got a bit too excited.
Yeah.
And they just didn't need to keep going.
I still think it counts though, because I've watched those 3 films over and over and over again.
I actually don't think I The Curse of the Black Pearl, the first one, I definitely have
Jeffrey
watched.
Rush.
Iconic.
Insane. The whole cast. I do actually.
Keira Knightley is one of Keira Knightley's first movies.
Yes.
Again,
Orlando Bloom.
So this is just
he loves
after,
a franchise.
Again, Legolas and Orlando Bloom were on my.
He's very beautiful in Pirates of the Caribbean.
He's really pretty. He was, and also like, you know, Johnny Depp's character, like this. Yeah. Even say what you will about him now.
I do get a bit of an ick, I do feel a bit gross rewatching Pirates of the Caribbean because of Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I think that the thing is that this particular character is so iconic for him.
Yeah.
And the way that he was able to kind of, you know, how he took that inspiration from Keith Richards. Like, let's separate the man and the art for just a second. Because I get what you're saying, because I sometimes get I feel a bit uncomfy.
Yeah. Similar with like Brad Pitt in the Oceans movies. Like there are people that make you uncomfy watching your old school like favorites.
Yeah, but I think if we just sort of let's just take that out for just a minute and, you know, think about how iconic Captain Jack Sparrow is as a character.
When I first watched Pirates of the Caribbean movies, I thought Johnny Depp was Captain Jack Sparrow. Like, because I think he also embodied, like I remember even seeing like clips of him visiting Children's Hospital as like Captain Jack Sparrow. Yeah. And it just felt like that character was him. And it was just like, I thought that was literally his personality as a person.
Well, it kind of was a little bit. And that, you know, bringing that Keith Richards thing in, and then Keith Richards being in the movies later down the line. And then, you know, think about like Jeffrey Rush as Barbossa. Like that is, again, such an iconic character. Yeah. You know, Orlando Bloom as William Turner. He was like such a heartthrob.
He's so hot.
And then the Keira Knightley in that corset, like the corset scene where she faints.
They very much though, like it's so telling with the time that these movies came out and the period of time that they were released. Is like, yes, you're Keira Knightley and you spent like 3 months on this ship with no shower, but you're still gonna have the most perfect hair and the most perfect makeup.
Yes. This is why
everyone around you looks like trash.
Well, yeah, suspending belief. That is the beauty of cinema, is you suspend your beliefs.
She's just got like the perfect wave to her hair.
I know. And even in the subsequent movies where she's like shipwrecked or whatever, and she's not wearing like a full corset anymore, she still looks
beautiful,
amazing. I love it. I'm into it. But look, I think that's one where we may have broken our rules. But you know what? The thing is, this is our show.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want. And these are our rules,
and we can do whatever we want.
So back off.
Yeah, back off.
Just watch the first 3 films. Okay? Yeah, we told you.
It's interesting though. It's so funny that all of the franchises that we picked are all
actiony.
Well, it's all
it's all
the 2000s, like early 2000s.
Yeah.
There was nothing.
Something was in the water back there.
I think it's a nostalgia thing. I think nostalgia plays a really big part in how much we like something.
I also think back then, especially with the franchises we chose, it was very much felt like that these creators had an idea of like this massive, massive story. And it's similar to the Harry Potters, right? Like you have a massive, massive story that your only option is to break it down into different movies. Whereas now it feels like franchises are being made as like an easy way to make money. So you have like a full movie and then you're like, should we make another movie or should we just make the same one again and again and again? And I think that's where franchises have kind of flip the script, and that's why I think they get such a bad rap now, because the most recent franchises just feel like a shortcut to making more money rather than like looking at the big story as a whole picture.
I think that's basically where Pirates went.
Yeah.
After the third movie, they've just kept going, and it was like, guys, you need to stop. Just stop. Please stop it. It's like the Fast and the Furious movies.
Yeah.
Like,
I love those. I love all of those as well, though.
No, but again, the first one was great.
I even love the spin-offs, like Sean Hobbs. Oh,
I don't know. It loses me after the first.
The only thing that made me sad is when Vin Diesel and The Rock had this massive beef, and now they can't work together anymore.
Oh. Yeah, but I mean, look, there's some great franchises out there. Like, let us know what your favorites are. Did we miss any?
Yeah.
What is something that we should watch this weekend? That's a franchise that gets all cozy.
Oh my God, yes. Well, I have to watch Lord of the Rings.
You do
I
have
to finish it.
I'm going to start watching it again.
You have to watch High School Musical.
I've already seen it. I don't want to watch the second and third one.
Oh, you have to.
Okay, I'll do it for you. Only if you watch all 3 Lord of the Rings.
I will. Okay,
That's
deal.
that's a lot of homework.
Deal. It's fine. I can do it. I'm a big girl. Thank you so much for listening to The Spill today. Do not forget to follow us on TikTok at The Spill Podcast. The Spill is produced by Manisha Swaran with sound production by Scott Stronach. Mamma Mia Studios is styled with furniture from Fenton & Fenton. Visit fentonandfenton.com.au, and we'll be back here in your podcast feed on Monday. Bye!